Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV. I've got some breaking news for you today, which is that Locast has shut down as of this morning. It was a very abrupt end to a service that I know a lot of you got a lot out of. Now, if you're not familiar with Locast, it was set up as a not-for-profit service to allow people to watch broadcast television over the internet. And they supported a number of markets here in the United States, and they were very rapidly expanding into more markets every week. And the way it worked is that if you lived within one of these supported markets, you could watch all of the TV that you could normally get over an antenna on the internet, and it was free. And if you wanted to have an experience without interruption, you could pay them a $5 monthly donation and be able to watch just like you would if you had an antenna on your television. And this was an attractive service for many people because lots of folks are in a situation like I am where you can't get anything over the air because of the geography of where you live. And this was something that I was hoping would come to my market, and unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now, the reason why it's shut down is because there has been an ongoing lawsuit. We covered this lawsuit back in March, and a couple of days ago there was a major ruling on the case where a judge essentially threw out the entire argument that Locast was making about why they thought their service was legal. And we're going to dive into exactly what the judge ruled on here in a second. But the bottom line here is that the question we posed in March about whether or not Locast would survive the lawsuit has been answered. They have not survived the lawsuit. In fact, they are now shutting down even before the suit is over. So this is really, I think, a death knell for this service. But I think there might be hope for other services to come out of the ashes here. Let's have a closer look at the judge's ruling. Now, the beginning of the end for Locast started on August 31st with this order from Judge Stanton, who was overseeing the case. Now, this case has been going on for a while. The broadcasters here in the U.S. are suing Locast and have been trying to get them shut down now for the last couple of years. And the parties in the case, both the plaintiffs, the broadcasters, and the defendants, the Locast folks, are all arguing about one specific portion of the U.S. law, specifically 111A5, and that is the statute that Locast was operating under. And this allows for nonprofit organizations, you can see that right here, to rebroadcast TV signals provided that they are only charging assessments necessary to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating the secondary transmission service. So you could not do this if you were a for-profit body, only a nonprofit. And if you are going to charge people, you have to make sure that it is only covering what it costs to do that secondary transmission and nothing more. So that's what the law says. Now, the judge, in reviewing the facts of the case, said that Locast was not following the law. He wrote, based on the undisputed facts, it is clear that the Locast service is not offered without charges other than those necessary to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating its service. The payments the defendants elicit from users are charges assessed on users to avoid constant service interruptions, regardless of whether defendants euphemistically called them publicly recommended donations. Now, the way the donations worked on Locast was that you could watch for free, but you would be interrupted with an ad to encourage you to make a donation every 15 minutes or so. And if you made a donation of $5 or more a month, those interruptions would go away. And Locast brought in some pretty decent numbers in 2020. So their total cost of operation, according to the judge's ruling, were $2.436 million in 2020. And in that period of time, Locast brought in $4.519 million, including $4.3 million from users and $147,000 from other sources. The judge then says, on those undisputed facts, in 2020, Locast made far more money from user charges than was necessary to defray its cost of maintaining and operating its service. So what did Locast do with all that money? Well, they did not do anything improper. What Locast did, according to the judge's order, was reinvest the money in the organization to cover the costs of maintaining, but also expanding the system. And it looks like the quote here came from the argument that Locast made to the court. And the expansion is what got Locast in trouble. They probably would have been fine if it was just maintenance and operations, but the expansion, the judge says, is not something that you can do under the current law. He writes, since portions of its user payments fund Locast's expansion, its charges exceed those, quote, necessary to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating the secondary service, end quote. And that quote is pulled from the statute itself, and the judge maintains that the only exemptions granted under the law are the operations and the maintenance, but not the expansion. The judge adds that it would have been simple for Congress to consider expansion had they just added the word to the statute, but he says that since expansion is nowhere mentioned, and it is therefore excluded from the short, tightly crafted grant of exemptions. In other words, because the law doesn't say expansion, these nonprofits are not allowed to expand beyond whatever market they're operating in. And that's the wording that he's going off of here in the law. And that is why Locast is likely shutting down, because they use these funds to expand into other markets. So the order came out on August 31st. Yesterday, Locast sent out an email saying that they were going to stop the interruptions for donation requests. So if you went to their website to watch TV, you wouldn't get interrupted with a membership ask every 15 minutes or so. And they were using the judge's order as the reason why they were getting rid of those programming interruptions. I don't know if they suddenly got flooded with new users because of all of the attention this court case got, or perhaps they decided that it wasn't worth continuing. One other reason might be that the plaintiffs, the broadcasters, have filed now for an injunction to shut Locast down, although the judge hasn't ruled on the injunction yet. Now, why are the broadcasters fighting so hard to shut down a service that actually gets them more viewers? And the reason is that broadcasters aren't making money on the ratings anymore. They're making money on retransmission fees that they charge to cable companies and satellite companies and YouTube TV and all the other cable services out there. In fact, the money they have brought in 2020 was $12.17 billion. Compare that to the $4 million and change that Locast brought in. So they make so much money charging you these broadcast TV fees, even if you're not watching the station at all. I certainly don't watch every one of my broadcast stations every night, but I'm paying to watch them through these artificial fees that they force my cable company to pay. And if my cable company doesn't pay them, I don't get the network anymore. And so they just tack on another fee to my cable bill. And right now it's almost $20 a month to pay for things that I'm not always watching. Now, if you want to follow the case further, you can go over to the court listener link that I have here on screen at Lon.TV/LocastCourt. You can follow all of the filings as they get issued in this case, although I suspect now that this is going to be pretty much over. Locast is going to shut down, so they're probably not going to be liable for whatever damages that might come, because now they are liable for copyright infringement. We'll see if the broadcasters let them go away quietly or if they try to extract some blood before this case is over. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't think Locast is coming back in its current form. So what could rise from the ashes here? Well, it appears as though if you create a nonprofit that raises what it needs to just operate and nothing more than that, you might be able to get away with it. So you might start seeing maybe these little nonprofits pop up in areas around the country that can operate under the very narrow definition of the law here. And I think that might be what we see. You're not going to see some big overarching service do it, maybe a pocket of little nonprofits all over the place that do this retransmission and nothing else. And they might vary the amount of money that they charge to members to keep the income pretty even with the operational costs. I think that would probably be allowable under the law. But don't forget, the broadcasters have a lot of lobbyists working for them in Washington, D.C., and I wouldn't be surprised if this statute disappears completely. So we'll keep an eye on this case, but it looks like, unfortunately, Locast is no more. and I would love to hear what you have to say down in the comments below. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Hot Sauce and Video Games, Brian Parker, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Thomas Anfang, Jim Tanis, and Handheld Obsession. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.